Hello and welcome to another episode of Momento Malum today. The faba bean is a high-protein legume species. This crop was domesticated in the Levant region in the Neolithic era. This crop then went to Anatolia, and from there came to the Mediterranean and China. It is through these routes that the faba bean entered Europe, and from there the New World. The faba bean has been studied extensively. It is a crop species that is very adaptable to various soil types, that exceeds most legumes, and is also a very effective nitrogen fixer. This cultivated species is categorized into 4 groups based on seed traits, as this species was subjected to intense selection based on seed traits. Based on these traits, there are 4 major groups: the major group, the equina group, the minor group, and the Paucagiga group. The major group was bred into being in the South Mediterranean countries and China. The equina landraces and cultivars are medium-sized seeds, versus the major group, which has large seeds. The medium-sized seeds were bred in the Near East and North Africa. The minor and Paucagiga groups have small seeds and were both bred in Ethiopia, and became the favorite group of Northern European agriculture. The ability for people to adapt agricultural systems to different situations is partially contingent on the presence of a large gene pool to draw resources from. This large gene pool provides a means to produce new cultivars with features suitable for the ever-changing circumstances that farmers are faced with. In most crops, the largest source of genetic variation comes from the landraces. These, however, have not been analyzed extensively. To determine the genetic diversity of the faba bean gene pool that the people of Turkey have, Dr. Şurhan would utilize the SSR marker technology to analyze 151 landraces from across the world and 104 cultivars. 39% of the lines were of the major group, 33% were of the equina group, and 21% were of the other 2 groups. The remaining cultivars could not be categorized into any group. And here are the results of Dr. Gold's experiment. If you want to donate to my channel, the links are below. If you want to buy my book, you can also find that link in the description box below. The genetic data found that the gene pool could be split into 3 groups. The first group consisted of 34.1% of all genetic lines. The genetic data showed this group had the highest level of genetic diversity. The second group made up 61.9% of all genetic lines, and was the second highest in genetic variation. The last group was made up of crossbreeds between Group 1 and Group 2. This group had the shallowest gene pool amongst the 3 groups. The genetic evidence also showed there is a very strange distribution of genetic variation. 90% of the genetic variation exists within a population, but only 10% of the genetic variation could be attributed to the differences between different populations. This higher level of genetic variation within a population is likely due to the fact that, unlike most other pulse crops, this species is not fully self-pollinating in nature. A portion of the seeds produced by a species can only be produced via cross-pollination, facilitated by insect pollination. There is not enough data to clearly group the genetic lines by geography. What could be determined, however, is that Group A consists of European stock. Group B could be split into 3 subgroups. B1 consists of genetic lines from Ethiopia and Afghanistan. B2 comprises the genetic lines from the major and equina lines from Turkey and Australia. That data also indicates that the Australian lions are the direct descendants of Turkish lions. And subgroup B3 consists of lions too diverse in shape and origin to categorize. Although it's expected that the land races would have greater genetic diversity than the newer cultivars, this is not the case. The genetic variation of modern cultivars was found to be comparable to the land races, sometimes even greater. This is likely because the selection methods are less intense in faba beans versus other legumes. There's also the fact that these lines still require a certain level of cross-pollination, and both of these factors aid in maintaining the gene pool. And that about covers everything. Thank you for watching.